State of Decay 2, a zombie survival action game that sets players to the task of not only surviving the apocalypse, but building up a community of survivors and navigating the dangers of both the dead and the living. While players seem to have a lot on their plate, or too little, they won't have to do it alone, as the apocalypse is a lot more fun when you bring some friends along. Welcome to the Test of Time, where we take a look at games and the changes they've made since their initial release, while giving some context and overview of the game itself. Today, we're going to be taking a look at State of Decay 2 and its upcoming update, the Juggernaut Edition. Launching in 2018, State of Decay 2 is Undead Labs' highly anticipated sequel to the original State of Decay, which was published by Microsoft through its Xbox Live Arcade market. The original title was well received by fans, surprised by the amount of hours that could be spent playing a game that was limited to only 2 GB of data initially. After the success of the first State of Decay, Microsoft would ink Undead Labs to a multi-year deal, which eventually led to the development of State of Decay 2. Gamers were very excited for the release of the sequel, as the restrictions from the original title seemed to be removed, allowing the studio to further expand on the gameplay, scale, and features that the sequel would bring. State of Decay 2 starts players off with a small community of 3 survivors. Taking control of one of the survivors, you're tasked with finding a suitable base and upgrading it to suit the needs of your community. Players can also set up various outposts across the map to further expand the safety of their community, or use an outpost to add beneficial resources to their main base. A large aspect of State of Decay 2 is centered around building up your community, establishing relationships with other survivors scattered across the map, and recruiting the ones that offer beneficial traits or skills to your group of survivors. Speaking of traits, survivors in State of Decay 2 are made up of a selection of hundreds of useful attributes, and not so useful ones, that define who they are as a character. One survivor may have enjoyed gardening before the apocalypse, and is now responsible for growing food for your community, while another survivor may have been in the military and is a certified zombie extinguisher. Players do have to be careful, however. For every positive trait, there's a negative trait that can have detrimental effects on the morale of the community. Players are tasked with venturing out and scavenging for useful supplies for their communities, while avoiding the zombie-infested towns that make up State of Decay 2. However, zombies are not the only enemy this time around, as the communities that form around the map can become hostile. While the game allows players to switch freely between the survivors and their community, players should proceed with caution, because once a survivor's HP reaches 0, they're permanently lost. Due to the risk players face when venturing out, it's comforting to know that State of Decay 2 allows players to seek out or offer the aid of other players online to help scavenge or eliminate some of the more deadly infestations that only get worse the longer you let them linger. While State of Decay 2 improved upon a lot of the features of its predecessor, some fans were left feeling like the game underachieved in delivering a compelling narrative and gameplay loop. But since the game's launch, State of Decay 2 has received several content updates that were meant to make good on those features. Which brings us to the release of the Juggernaut Edition. Coming out on March 13th, this update contains a brand new map called Providence Ridge. The update also brings a rebuilt tutorial experience to help teach players new and old more about the basics of surviving the apocalypse. As for the gameplay, the game is receiving a new weapon category of heavy weapons, players looking to add a little more weight to their swings. State of Decay 2 seems to be steadily improving their game, and continuing to win fans over with one of the genre's most unique survival experiences. We hope to see more updates in the future, and are excited for all the possibilities the title has. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and leave a like down below, and as always, have a Drexcellent day.